a piece today in the Parsha of Balak that connects very much to our parenting classes. Last Shabbos we were discussing in the parenting class a certain pasuk, the pasuk from our Parsha, which goes like this. Remember, it's a blessing that comes out instead of what should have been a curse. Lo hibit avin beYaakov velo ra'a amal b'Yisrael, Hashem Elokav imo u'tshuat melech bo. So the regular translation of this pasuk is, he perceived no iniquity in Jacob and saw no perversity in Israel. Hashem, his God, is with him, and the friendship of the king is in him. What a blessing. What a blessing. That basically, the way we learned it in the parenting class was that when parents look at their children, the dream of a child is that the parents would choose this pasuk to explain that these are my children. Lo hibit avin beYaakov velo ra'a amal b'Yisrael. And when I look at my child, I just can't see problem. I can't see dirt. When I look at them, when I look at who they really are, I cannot see something that makes me feel that they're dirty. So this is an amazing concept. Morning. Is it possible, tachlis, a very tachlis way, is it possible for someone to say that when they look at their children, they don't see anything wrong with them? Is that even a goal? Is that an expectation that you think is kedai to invest in? That's my goal. Is that even possible for a parent to ever feel that when they look at their children, I just don't see anything wrong with them? Can I expect that from my parents? And can I expect that from myself as a parent, that eventually I'll work on myself so much that when I see my child, I'll see nothing bad, nothing wrong? Is that even something that's in our cards? Should it even be like that? So, since that's one of the psukim, one of those beautiful psukim that we have in our parsha, this wacky parsha is filled with the most beautiful psukim because it's brachas that were initially klelas. I wanted to learn consciously to have this in mind, b'shem kol Yisrael, that everything we're learning right now should turn into a bracha into all of Am Yisrael, everyone, all our lives. So if you look at the bottom of the first page, the left side, the Yismach Yisrael. The Yismach Yisrael is Rebbe of Yisrael Yitzchak me Alexander. The Alexander Rebbe, he comes from the line of learning by Reb Simcha Bonam Epshesta, Kotzker, Ishbitzer, the Ger Rebbe, Polish Chassidus, early 19th century. The Alexander Rebbe today, we don't have a lot of Alexander Chassidim. That's because I believe the number was close to 200,000 Alexander Chassidim were killed in the Holocaust. There was a massive Chassidus. Thousands and thousands. We have barely. I mean, it's very, very small today, if at all, very, very small. So look what the Yismach Yisrael says. This Torah is going to teach us, as you see in the title here, Hakadosh Baruch Hu mashkif al pnimius libo shel Yehudi. God, when He looks deep inside, He looks at the inner point of the heart of a Yid. Hanoteret tamid zakah u'nekiya, which always remains pure and refined. Umekablo b'tshuva, and he receives that yid with tshuva, be'eza matzav sheyeh, no matter where a Jew is at. This piece, B'ezrat Hashem will give us, this is a piece of chizuk, a lot of chizuk today, just to strengthen ourselves tremendously. Ha'emet hu ken, the truth is, kasher Yisrael goneach v'tzoek mikiras libo el Hashem yizbarach. When a yid, you know what goneach means? Yeah. Raw cracks from the kiros libo, from the walls of his heart, when he's really coming from inside, and he's really crying out to Hashem. Shirachem alav, that Hashem should have compassion on him. Leotzio mireshet hayetzer hara, harotze lehapilo li be'er shachat. Please save me from this seductive yetzer hara that constantly wants to schlep me down to the lowest pits of hell. Ulam liyot olam. The problem is, ki po'al adam yishalem lo. What does that mean? That from Eov. Me'a'avonot she'asa nivre'u mekatrekim umazikim rachmana litzlan. Now this is a very difficult thing to understand. We know this from the Zohar HaKadosh, and the Baal HaTanya brings this down as well. Me'a'avonot she'asa, from averas that we've done, na'asim nivre'u mekatregim umazikim. You have accusers and damagers that were created from the averas that you've done. Like we know certain averas create negative angels that come and prosecute you. So he's saying that with certain averas that you do, from the outside of it, what happens is you yourself have created this problem because you've created people to come and prosecute you. Rahman al-Islam. Have you ever heard of this concept before?
Yeah, the way that I understand that is that when you do an avera, so you've shifted your consciousness to a lower level. You've mainly lowered yourself, so you have to fight back up again. You want to call those levels angels. You want to call it different languages. But the truth is, if you've done something that's brought you down, you brought yourself down now. Now in order to fight back, you're going to have, avera goleret. Avera is not stun. It's like because you've brought more negativity into your life. Now you have more negativity there.
You just have more negativity. That's metaphorically speaking, meaning, but I want to say even literally, that there's literally and there's mazikim, which is again, what does that mean? I don't know. I'll take the Zohar's word for it, right? I don't understand what that means. I'll take the Zohar's word, I'll take the Alter Rebbe's word for this, there's mazikim. You create these entities that are standing there in prosecution against you. You created it. And obviously we all know specifically what avera this is most pertained to, right? Without getting into it right now with Tikkun Abris. But really, even regarding any avera, it's like you're saying, there's negativity that you've invited into your life, and this energy, this negative energy, now stands as a prosecutor. And you're wondering, why is it so hard to get out of here? And you hate the fact when you realize, wait a second, I created this, I did this. Now look what he says here. That negative energy, or those prosecuting angels which you've created from your averas, how do they work? They prevent you from feeling like you can go inside to get your tshuva. Azai HaKadosh Baruch Hu shu tzofeh umabit bechadrei halev ubochen klayot balev. At that moment, the Ribono Shel Olam, who looks into the chadrei halev, the inner chambers of the heart, ubochen klayot balev, he comes to see where your kidneys are. Remember, the concept of kidneys is like kishkas, like where you really, okay, you did these things, you did these averas, and now you have prosecutions against you, but God says, I'm going to look even deeper than the prosecuting angels. Where are you inside? Uvochen klayot valev. And this should give us koach to get up from anything. Look what he says. Kasher hu mabit lipnimiyut lev ha'isha Yisraeli. When he glances, he looks deep inside into the pnimius of the heart of the Israelite, of the Yid. Azai miyad nechshav lo ki'ilu asa tshuva v'foal. It's considered as if, at that moment, he really did tshuva, actually. That when God looks deep inside the heart of a Jew, it's considered as if you really did tshuva. How could that be? What did you do? You didn't even do anything. It's Hashem that looked at you.
No, but the preface is that it's so ekmikirot libo.
Nachon.
So he's doing something. You just can't get out of it.
Right. We think that tshuva is only like once I finished the tshuva, like the Rambam's level of going back to the place that I once sinned and then going back and making sure that I don't sin there again, right? But here he's saying the beginning of the process is
You're already done.
Well, on a certain level. On a certain level. How could that work, right? And why do Hasidus give so much importance to the krechts? Why is it such a holy avoda? Because that's coming from the Pnimiyus Halev. And that's where Hashem looks and says, yeah, on the outside you created these prosecuting angels that are standing there saying, you can't come in, you can't come in. God says, I'm looking deeper. I'm going to go see where that place is that's untouched. Where you're really at. Why? Everyone desires to have Yiras Hashem. Hainu, because in the heart and the pnimius of every single yid, there is a cheshek, there is a passion, there's a ratzon to always return to its source, to be connected to that which it came from, in our insides. Like imagine if you committed, you said, my tshuva this month is going to be that whenever I see a Jew that ticks me off, or whenever I read an article that drives me nuts, how could a Jew write such words? That I want to be godly. What does that mean to be godly at that moment? To go beyond those words and say, Emunah and Hashem also means that I believe that in their inside of insides, they really don't believe what they're saying and they agree with everything I say. No, not to that extent. But that in their inside of the insides, right, there's no way in the world they mean what they're
Is
saying.
there any limit to that?
Erev Rav, you mean?
What's the red line?
What's an example?
I don't know.
Take anything. Is there any person that you're exempt from trying to see that they're in the Kuda Pnimis?
Somebody who might be putting Jewish lives at stake by what they're saying or suggesting gets done.
So what would be the result of the red line? So I have a red line on what?
That I can't be godly in that my godliness doesn't take me to a good place. Trying to be godly doesn't take me to a good place at that moment.
Why?
Because I don't think God looks at it, that person in a good place. You're trying to be godly.
Maybe God doesn't look at his actions in a good place, just like he doesn't look at some of your actions in a good place. But even on that yet, in the pnimius of the Lev, I mean, this Torah is not it's not exclusive for certain individuals.
To Jews?
Right now, it's about no, it's not exclusive to certain Jews. It's all Yidden.
Okay.
That's what he says here. Pnimius Leva Yehudi.
What about all humanity?
He's going to get there. He's going to get there in a bit.
I think it's also Kol Chavetzim Le'ira. I wouldn't expect it to be Ira. It's like so Egli Kilot Lipo, and it sounds like a Mamshin Ahava thing. And he's saying that here, I want you to know that Kol Chavetzim Le'ira.
What's Chafetz mean?
Chafetz. Mi'esha Chafetz Chaim. Who's the one that desires life? Kumuvar Barambam Gabe Get Maisa. Now, this is a whole concept in Mishnah Torah we have here, but I don't want to get into it right now about the concept of Get Maasa. But let's continue inside. Now he's going to explain this pasuk. V'zeu perush. Lo hibit aven beYaakov. What does it mean that he didn't see any? What was the word he used there? Iniquity. He didn't see any iniquity in Jacob. What does that mean? Haynu betoch pnimiyut levavam shel Yaakov. In the inner chambers of the heart of Yaakov, he didn't see anything that was astray. V'lo ra'a amal b'Yisrael. Haynu b'pnimiyut levavam. In their inside of their hearts, when God looks at it, he says, in here, they only want to be close to me. They don't want anything else. There's nothing else a Jew really wants than to be connected to its source. It's only the layers of the outside. Now this doesn't mean, you could be a baby with this Torah and say, this exempts me from having to really work hard on anything. Why? Because God will always see that in the inner chamber of my heart, I just want to be close to Him. So therefore, any action I do doesn't really matter. Because He knows I love Him, right? So what do you answer someone like that? That's
more to that extreme than the other extreme. That he hates me, that I'm out.
okay. But how do you help a guy not run to the world of Averas on that level?
Because if it's been meant by Pnimiyut Balev,
Yeah.
so you're going to want to be
Right. Meaning if you're connected to that Pnimiyut level, you're saying it for real, you're not gonna want to do any Averas.
Reciprocal.
Right. Your Ratzon won't be to lean on that, to bank on
But
that.
isn't that the lowest level?
It starts from there, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, that's like, you don't want someone to rely on that.
Never.
Exactly.
Right.
So like,
You don't.
fine, you could have a connection with Hashem at like the lowest level possible, or you could have a higher connection where you're actually
Nachon.
wanting to.
Well, this is a Torah that says to you, now you're being real. You could have the lowest, what you just said.
This is like the lowest level.
It starts from here.
Right.
No, the lowest level is not even crying to Hashem.
Right, but even
That's not even a level,
right,
you're saying,
okay,
right.
right.
But in
so
the
if
world
you
of
want to be
Avodah,
part of the
right.
game, okay, if you want to be in the worst position with your connection to Hashem,
Correct.
fine, so do that.
But what he's saying is when you acknowledge, when a Yid realizes this, he can only go one direction from there. He's only going to strive upwards. When I realize that if this is what it's like, why wouldn't I want to be connected more to what my inside really wants? That's the natural evolution. That's the natural result of such awareness. Hopefully, B'ezrat Hashem, that's what this piece is trying to give us chizuk to. It's not trying to give us chizuk to make us feel not ugly. It's trying to give us chizuk to make us say, if that's the case, that this is the way Hashem looks at you, don't you want to be so much more closer to that way of life? Hopefully. Okay, so again, this second paragraph, V'zeu perush lo bit aven beYaakov, haynu betoch pnimius levavam shel Yaakov, v'lo ra'a mal b'Yisrael, haynu b'pnimius levavam, Hashem Elokav imo, God is with him, haynu, ki pnimius nishmasam, the inner place of the neshama v'yid, hu chelek elokim mima'al, is this godly peace from above. So Ari, here's to answer your question. It's going to be a little bit hard to read the next few lines. We're not going to get too caught up in it. מה שאין כן אומות העולם, אשר גם פנימיוס לבבם הוא שחור. What's not so with the nations of the world, that in the inner chambers of the hearts, he's saying it's not it. In the inner piece of the inside, you can't say that. There's still something that's not. Yeah. וההפך, כושי אורו, without getting into it. לכן אין מועיל תשובה לאומות העולם, כי תשובה הוא שישובה ופנימיוס לבבו. That's why the concept of tshuva of a yid is different from the concept of tshuva of a non-yid. Because the tshuva of a yid is returning to a specific place. What's that place called? The inner chambers of his heart. Because if he's connected to that, he's in. But he's saying with the nations of the world, their tshuva is different. It's not to go into the inner chambers of their hearts. It's something else. They have tshuva.
It's almost like we have to do their tshuva for them. We have to bring them back in whatever way, however that looks. For Amalek, it means to help them do tshuva is to kill them. But like in some way that's really true.
Right.
Right?
Well, in some ways, in every way, the Torah says clearly that's their tshuva. Reishis goyim Amalek v'achrido adei oved. It's their tshuva is to be wiped out. Right, that's pretty crazy, right?
I bless them.
To do tshuva. You want to help them do tshuva? Open up a tshuva center for Amalek. You have like 3, shechters there. You have sheichets over there in the corner. Hey, welcome to the tshuva center. We're here to help you do tshuva. But again, he's saying this is a nekuda, without getting too into the details here. He's saying this thing of tshuva, a yid's tshuva, is nothing that has to do with outside of him. It's only inside of him, because the more he's connected to his insides, he knows he never wants to do something wrong. It tells him that all the time. With the nations of the world, their tshuva is something different. It's not about them returning to their insides, because their insides aren't chelek eloka mimal. Now, for this exact explanation, this reason, many people have a problem with the Tanya, who says this clearly in the end of the first parak, regarding the nefesh elokit that exists within Yidden. Now, and we'll get to there when we learn the Tanya inside. We'll discuss more about godly souls, v'chule, and animalistic souls. But that's why he says, Lo yibit aven beYaakov v'lo ra'amal beYisrael. When he looks inside the concept of Yaakov and Yisrael, in their insides, all I see is that they really, really do want to be close to me. They haven't learned how to interpret that outside. V'zeu rak beYisrael, second to bottom paragraph. שפנימיוס לבבו וחלק יעקב שבקרבו הוא נקי מכל שיג ופגם. That their inner chambers of their hearts and this chelek of Yaakov that's in them, they're clean from any type of blemish. כאשר הועיל זאת יעקב אבינו בתפילתו. Now, how did this work? How was this created? That in the inside of us, we really are that clean. How did we connect to that? So he brings here a pasuk, I think it's from Parashat Vayechi, right? Bereshit Memtes Vav. This is the last parsha of Sefer Bereshit, where Yaakov Avinu is giving the brachas. So here Yaakov Avinu is giving a bracha to Vav. Avi, you remember by heart who he's giving this bracha to? It's Shimon and Levi. Shimon veLevi achim klei chamas mechorotehem. Now look at the pasuk. He says, "Besodam al tavo nafshi, bike'alam al techad kvodi." What does that mean? Into their conspiracy may my soul not enter. With their congregation, do not join. That's what the pshat is. Okay. With what is he referring to? Their anger, right? Their rage. He's saying over here, what did he? Besodam al tavo nafshi. וביקהלם על תחת כבודי שביקש שבשעת החטא, that at a moment that a Jew does a sin, this is amazing. At the moment, this is what Yaakov Avinu was davening. At the moment that a Yid does an Aveira, lo yiga hachet be'atzmiut upnimius levavam. The chet should not reach their insides. It shouldn't have any effect on their deepest place, who they really are inside. Hainu bechelek Yaakov. Asher bekerev levavam. The chet, you're not gonna sin. It's human nature. But that the sin itself should not have any negiyah. It shouldn't touch that place that's really, really inside of them. כי יעקב אבינו עליו השלום, הוא בריח התיכון היוצא מהקצה לקצה בתוך כללות ישראל. Who is Yaakov Avinu? What's this language of bariach hatichon? Who are bariach hatichon? Does anyone know where this language is from? Mavriach me'akatze lakatze, bariach hatichon. When it comes to the construction of the Mishkan, there's one bariach hatichon. It's one like log, one piece of the structure, which is mavriach min hakatze lakatze, which is basically holding up the whole structure of the Mishkan. The Alter Rebbe and the Tanya speaks about this quite extensively. This is who Yaakov Avinu was.
The supporting beam.
Thank you, the supporting beam. We have our newfound Lubavitcher in the room. Right? So he's saying, Abariach hatachon mavriach min hakatze lakatze. Yaakov Avinu was able to be a supporting beam for all of Am Yisrael by what? By davening to the Rebbeinu Shalom, please Hashem, even when they do sin, let they never identify themselves with sinning. May it always remain, if it has to be, something that is on their outside, but never that they identify themselves with this is who they are as a Baal Aveira. This is Yaakov Avinu's tefillah. Ve'al zayat tfilato. This is what he was davening for. Shelo yiga hachet shel Yisrael b'chelek Yaakov me'am Yisrael.
Not just that Hashem doesn't identify it, it's that they don't identify
That
it.
we don't, right? There are many tzaddikim that daven, Hashem, please look at them nicely, right? Yaakov Avinu's supporting beam is by, how does he support us? How do we rely on him?
They're saying to you, it's not you.
Hashem, please let them never identify themselves with the Averas. That they see that they've sinned, but that they don't say, this has become me. It's a beautiful thing. It's an important diuk, what you just brought up. והקדוש ברוך הוא הקשיב לכל תפילתו, and God listened to Yaakov Avinu's prayer. וכמאמרם ז"ל, like they said, אף על פי שחטא ישראל הוא. This is what it means, the Gemara in Sanhedrin, that even if we sinned, I'm still a Yid. What does that mean, I'm still a Yid? It means that sin didn't touch the pnimius of my life. It had nothing to do with the inside of my heart. היינו שחלק יעקב אשר בקרבו לא חטא. That this place inside of him, it's called Chelek Yaakov, that's within him, did not sin. ועל ידי זה יוכל לזכות כל אחד בישראל בכל מדרגה שעומד. And through this, every Yid can merit, no matter what level he's on, yiyeh ech sheyiyeh, whatever the scenario is, and wherever he's at in his life, he's able to merit sheyuchal liskos l'tshuva. I can be zocher to do tshuva by what? By, let's say, the beginning of this Torah, oi! Because in that oi is coming from inside. No chet is touching that oi. You know, there was someone once came to Reb Nachman and said to him, Reb Nachman, why do you krecht so much? Why do you always krecht, oi, oi! You always talk about simcha. Why are you always krechting, oi, oi? The story is, so he said to him, if you only knew how much simcha there was in my krechts, you'd never ask that question. Why? Now we can understand a little bit. Because what happens to me when I let that out? I'm hearing the real me. What a simcha that is. I love that story. V'zehu halohi bit'aven beYaakov. This doesn't mean that he didn't see any of these iniquities in when he looked at Yaakov. Why? Ki b'chelek Yaakov. This is what the pasuk means. Lo bit'aven beYaakov. In this part of Yaakov, be'emet en sham shum shemetz upgam michet chalila. Sin has no stains. It has no marks on that place that's inside. No marks. When that Yid yesterday at the funeral, who looked like, if I met him on the street, not at the funeral, I think this guy has no idea there's a concept called Kohen Levi Yisrael. He comes to a funeral of a Yid, of a Chayal Kadosh. His heart is very sensitive. And he looks, he says, אני מצטער, זה פעם ראשונה שאני פה. אני מפחד מאוד מהעצים. איפה כהן יכול לעמוד? Where can a Kohen stand? The guy's covered in tattoos, and he's asking me where a Kohen can stand. You can have all the tattoos in the world, from head to toe. Every single picture and culture on it. But even that doesn't touch the pnimius of a yid. Now again, this doesn't mean, okay, let's just do everything we want. Alehefech. The more you let that out, the more you want that to be a constant in your life. And the more that you want to be connected to that which is inside of you. But the point of this Torah over here, I think, one of the points is if I want to do tshuva, and if I'm choosing to be godly, it hurts, but there's no exemptions. The Rebbe never gave up on anybody. He never gave up on anybody. He was always looking at people with those eyes of Lo hibit avim b'Yaakov v'lo ra'a amal b'Yisrael. But when he saw that averos were taking place and chataim were taking place, he spoke up. It's not if any. See what happened with Yiddishkeit is that some people got so scared of making people feel so bad, so they stopped saying anything bad about what people are doing. But if you really believe in the inside of a Jew's heart that there's nothing that they want to do which can take them away from their pnimius alev, look at them with eyes that connect them back to who they really are inside. And that's a hard look. In today's day and age, this is a very hard thing. Because of social media is so big, so I see what so many people think all the time. I'm constantly aware of other people's opinions, which to me seem that these neshamas are rotten neshamas, if they could say such a thing. Chassidus says that a yid never falls into that trap of the Yetzer Hara telling you this guy's heart is rotten. A yid's heart is never rotten. A yid's heart is a chelek eloka mimal. He says it's coming from the highest place in the world. Your job is to be able to look at him in those kind of eyes. Yeah, is it hard? Gewalt, is it hard? It's so hard. It's so hard. But this should, what's that? But very worthwhile on every single level. On every single level. And I think that Yaakov Avinu's bracha, Yaakov Avinu's davening to us really is like an amazing concept of him saying Hashem Yisbarach, may Yidden never identify themselves with chet. It's something that we can continue saying every day. That's like, we can go there. We could that could become part of our essential prayer. Hashem Yisbarach, may Jews never identify themselves with the averas, and may I never identify myself with the avera that I might do. Chas v'shalom. Lo ta'or ta'om hazeh ki varuchu. We're blessed. We're blessed inside. May the brachas that Bilam eventually did say, may that be everything and everything that comes out of all our enemies' mouths.
Amen.
Just brachas.